first thing I want everybody to do is to join me in clapping. We're going to start off slow. Louder, come on. And that's for you, for making this our largest Home of Her Own event that we've ever had in 20 years. So I want to thank you for getting yourselves out today and being here. The next thing I'm going to ask you all to do, and then I'll introduce myself, is to take out your cell phone, which I am sure every person has, and I'm going to ask you to like us on Facebook, on Instagram, any place, and what's the other one? Twitter. I'm old, sorry. And make sure that you put us into your phones so that you find out about all the other wonderful free activities that we offer and the great information that we have here at Citizen Action. So please like us, Instagram us, Twitter us, do all those things. We have your information, and you will hear from us too when there are events that we think you would be interested in. So hi, my name is Phyllis Salo Kay, and I'm the Executive Director of New Jersey Citizen Action, and welcome to our Home of Her Own event, which is geared for women, because women own fewer homes than men, but we do allow men to come. So we welcome both the men and the women to our event. You don't have to just be a woman to own a home. You can be a man, but we are actually reaching out to women because we want to make sure that women own their own homes when they're ready to do that. So we're really so pleased to have all of you here today. We have a number of dignitaries who are going to be coming to encourage you. We have Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver, Senator Menendez, Mayor Raz Baraka. A couple of council people are going to be stopping by today. One just, and folks are going to notify me when they come, and we're going to sort of fit them into the agenda, and then they will be on their way. But they want to wish you a good trip to home ownership. So I want to begin by thanking, number one, there are two people that really need to get special attention today, and that's Benita Holmes, who's right over here, who heads up our loss mitigation and loan counseling, and Layla Amir Hamza, who's our development director, and they, along with their great staff, have put together today's event. I also want to take a moment to thank our sponsors, because without our sponsors, we couldn't be here today. And that's Bank of America, BB&T, Capital One, Citibank, Essex, the County of Essex, HSBC, JP Morgan Chase, M&T Bank, New Jersey Citizen Action Education Fund, PPAC Gladstone Bank, PNC, RSI Bank, Santander, Sterling, TD, Valley National, the Victoria Foundation, and Wells Fargo. So let's thank them all, because they're the ones who have put together special below market rate mortgages that you will hear about later on this afternoon, that are only available if you go through counseling. You can't just walk into the bank and get these great products. So there's a reason to stay and get information from us. Keep on our radar, sign up with us. We have several partners who make our work much easier. It's the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, better known as HUD, and we want to make sure that HUD is still there helping us and doing the things they should be doing. Also, the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency. So, want to also encourage folks to stay to the end. On the cover of your blue folders that each family got, or each couple, or each triple, or whatever, there's a little blue ticket, and we will be holding a raffle later on for some very great prizes, and that will be at the conclusion of our program, which hopefully will be at 4 o'clock if we move quickly through the agenda. Before we begin, I'd like to give you an overview of who we are. what we do and why we care about first-time home buyership and educating buyers and counseling buyers. Citizen Action is 36 years old. We're a statewide organization. We have offices that run from Passaic down to Cherry Hill, and we fight for social, racial, and economic justice for all. We have over 100 affiliated organizations and more than 60,000 individual members across the state of New Jersey. We're a very unique organization in that we combine advocacy and organizing. That means working for legislation, protecting laws, making sure that there's good consumer protections, and we combine that with direct service, where we provide you with financial empowerment programs similar to the one that you're attending today. We work on many issues, including fighting for quality and affordable health care for all, fair and affordable housing and banking, consumer financial protections, and financial justice. We work on issues that have to do with work and family balance, like paid sick days, which if you live in New Jersey, you now have paid sick days if you didn't have them before. And if you need more information, you should contact us. We're family leave insurance, which we also have, but we are working on expanding that. And obviously, one of the biggies is increasing the minimum wage and fighting for $15 minimum wage. And we don't have that yet, but we're hoping to get that soon. There's information about all of our programs and direct services in your packet, and Layla's going to go over that with you in a few minutes. You'll also find out information about our work at the tables outside. As part of our fair and affordable banking and housing work, we promote fair and equal access to credit. I just hit the computer. I'm sorry. I'm picking up my papers. I hope I didn't screw it up. We partner with banks across the state to negotiate a Community Reinvestment Act, or CRA, agreements. And in these agreements, banks outline their commitments. That means how much money, the products and the programs and the services that they've dedicated for low and moderate income New Jerseyans. Over the past years, we have negotiated more than 40 agreements totaling over $40 billion in commitments for special below-market mortgage products like the ones that you're going to hear about today. Because of our work on these issues, we've developed our free financial empowerment services, including we are a statewide HUD housing counseling certified, we're a statewide HUD certified counseling agency, which we opened in 1995. Over the years, we've provided free housing counseling to more than 37,000 people, of which over 15,000 have actually purchased homes, and we hope to be adding many of you to that list over the next year or so. Today, you will hear from some of those people who purchased homes through us, and you'll see a video where we actually go into the homes of some of those folks. And we're going to talk about that later. So far, now I'd like to turn the program over to Layla Amir Hamza, who's our Development Director, and she's going to come up and talk about the information that's in your packets.
Thank you very much.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome and congratulations on taking this first step towards affordable homeownership. We are so happy to see so many people here this afternoon, and we hope that today is going to give you a lot of information on how you can start this process and how, most importantly, how you can access special affordable mortgage products, down payment assistance, and assistance for closing costs. So that's what you're going to hear about from a lot of our bank partners that are here. And I know many of you stopped by those tables outside. There may have been only a couple banks when you first came. Be sure when you leave, all those tables are still going to be there. So you want to make sure you stop at those tables and hear about all of the affordable mortgage programs from each of those banks. You'll also hear from those banks at the end before you leave. But I just wanted to quickly run through the information that's in your packets. As Phyllis said, everybody should have a blue ticket on the outside of your folder. And I know we did like one folder per household or family, and so we have some great prizes that our financial institutions have donated, from an Amazon Echo Dot to various gift cards, from Citizen Action, from TD Bank, from all of our banks that are outside. So that we will do. We'll have those several raffles right before we leave. But inside your packets, you're going to see information about our different programs and services. And as Phyllis said, one of the things that makes Citizen Action so unique is that we combine all of our issue work with the provision of a lot of different programs and services. So today is about first-time homebuyer counseling, but you may know family members or friends that have been having trouble with their mortgage. So we also provide free foreclosure prevention counseling. That's something folks can also get with Citizen Action. We also do basic financial education workshops. If you belong to any church groups or organizations across the state, you can call us up and we will come out to your organization and do workshops in English and Spanish on various financial topics, from banking and budgeting to fair housing and avoiding financial frauds. We also provide, and I want to make sure everybody knows that we provide free tax preparation for any family that makes less than $55,000. You can come to Citizen Action and get your taxes done for free. That is a huge issue because there are so many high-cost tax preparers out there that will charge your family on average $250, $300 just to get your taxes filed when you could get them done for free. So we actually have a storefront office. Our biggest office is here in Newark, a few blocks away on Halsey Street. And there's information in your packets in English and Spanish about our free tax preparation program. The tax season will usually open or kick off at the end of January, but you can contact us before then to find out some information. We also have satellite sites in other parts of Newark. So in the Ironbound section, we have a satellite site with our partner, the Ironbound Community Corporation. We also do a satellite site in Bloomfield at the Public Library, and we also have a satellite site in Middlesex County in Highland Park. So we want to make sure that everybody is able to get their taxes done for free instead of spending so much money to a tax preparer, a high-cost tax preparer. Also, for anybody who has an ITIN, an individual tax identification number, it's really important. If you've used one of those to file your taxes in the past few years, or you have one of those numbers and you haven't used it for a few years, you need to make sure that your number is up to date because you have to renew that number. Certain numbers have to be renewed, and we can do that for you for free. They have to be renewed before December 31st of this year in order to file your taxes for next year. So if you have questions about that, you can meet with Naomi Anderson, who's the director of our tax program, and she's actually right outside at one of the tables when you first came in. We also do free healthcare enrollment assistance, and you'll see a flyer on the left-hand side as well of your packet about our free healthcare enrollment assistance. Health insurance, of course, is such a huge expense, and whether you are eligible for Medicaid or maybe you have been on the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare, and you're not sure if you're eligible for Obamacare, or maybe things have changed in your family and you may be eligible for that. It's really important to know that you can only apply for Obamacare during what we call the open enrollment period. And unfortunately, it's a very short period this year. It's only from November 1st until December 15th. So you have to make sure, if you're not sure if you're eligible for those special Obamacare discounts or subsidies, go to our healthcare enrollment assistance counselors and they can work with you to see if you're eligible for that. And anybody who's eligible for Medicaid, you can apply anytime with our counselors. And that office is also on Halsey Street. It's our tax center, and they're at a table right outside. You can speak with Maria or Marcia about that. We also do free one-on-one financial coaching. So for anybody who maybe you're thinking about homeownership, but you're not quite ready, or maybe you're thinking about it in a couple of years and you're just starting to get information, if you want to work on debt and building your credit and budgeting, and you can actually meet one-on-one with one of our financial coaches, and you'll actually hear from one of our coaches a little bit later. And there's also information on the left side of your packet about that. We also do fair housing, education, outreach, and testing. And that's also really important, especially as you're going through the home buying process, because unfortunately there are a lot of different scams and frauds out there. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that, things that you need to watch out for as you go through the home buying process and what you can do to protect yourself. But there's information in the packets there, and you'll also hear a little bit more about that. One of the other things I just want to remind everybody of, which I'm sure everybody, you hear this all the time in the news about what an important election year this is, the midterm elections. We have a lot of big elections across the country, including right here in New Jersey. And so no matter who you're voting for, it's really important, first of all, make sure that you're registered to vote, and most importantly, that you're registered to vote at your current address. Because in order to make sure that you can vote on the November 6th election, you have to be registered to vote by October 16th. So we have forms out there in English and Spanish so you can register to vote. It just takes a couple minutes to fill out that form. Make sure that you do that so you can have your voice heard on November 6th. The other thing I wanted to mention to folks, on the tables, you'll see a white flyer for our Financial Reform Summit. If you're interested in hearing more about the policy type of work that Citizen Action does, we have another free event. It's actually an all-day event from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. here at NJIT, where we're going to talk about a lot of issues from, student loan debt to fair housing issues, and there's, lunch and breakfast provided at that event, and you'll hear from great speakers from across the state and the country. And so you can actually go to the website on that flyer and register for that event if you're interested, but it's on October 16th here. And also, one of the other flyers that's outside, if any of you are small business owners or you're thinking about starting a small business, Citizen Action does free informational luncheons and events for small business owners across the state, where we connect you with, like today, different financial resources of banks or other service providers that can help you get funding as a small business owner, and also help you to network if you're a small business owner. So if there's anybody who's around the Bergen County area, we have an event that's coming up on October 23rd. There's a flyer outside in English and Spanish there. We also have an event if you're down in South Jersey at the Camden Aquarium on November 1st. And then we have two events here in Newark. One that is coming up on November 13th at Iberia in Down Neck. And then we also have an event that's coming up on December 6th that'll be at the Haynes building where the Whole Foods is. That's also information for small business owners. So for anybody who is a small business owner or small business owners, please let them know about the free resources. So that's really a lot of the information about our programs and services, but there are 3 pieces of paper that are in your folders that are really important for you to fill out before you leave here today. They're all brief papers. I know that it's a lot of stuff that you have there. On the right-hand side, the 3 most important papers before you leave here, there's a gold application form on the right-hand side. That's the first form on the right-hand side. And that is a very brief application for our one-on-one counseling. So a lot of folks, when you called up, you might have said, well, what is today's seminar about? This is just very general information for you about affordable mortgage opportunities. But if you want to get one of those HUD certificates so that you can be eligible for one of those affordable mortgage programs, you have to get one-on-one counseling. The banks require that. The different programs require that. So you can fill out that that yellow color application form, and you'll get a little more information about the group sessions that we also have, but just make sure you fill that out before you leave if you want the one-on-one. And that's where you're going to be able to sit with a counselor and go through your personal situation and figure out how much of a house can you afford to buy. So that's this gold form. The other form is this pink questionnaire, and it's just one side. One is in English, one is in Spanish. In order for Citizen Action to provide these programs for free, we have to report information to our funders. You don't have to put your name on the top if you don't want to, but if you can just quickly fill out the one-sided of the part of that questionnaire, that really helps us out so we can keep providing free programs and services. And the last thing, before you leave, we just want to hear what you thought about today. If there are other workshops you'd like to hear about or things that you'd like us to talk about, that helps us get your feedback about what we can do better, what you like, and what else you'd like to hear about. So I know that was a lot of information, but we want to give you as much information as possible and have you take advantage of as much of our free programs and services as possible. But again, we thank you all for being here today, and now I'm going to turn it back over to, let me see. Actually, now we're going to turn it over to the director of our housing counseling program, NJIT Home. She is the supervisor of our loan counseling program.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out. New Jersey Citizen Action has offices throughout the state. We offer the following type of counseling: pre-purchase counseling for first-time home buyers like yourself. We also offer credit and debt counseling, home improvement, crisis counseling for individuals who may be facing foreclosure, and also predatory lending counseling for individuals who might be facing some type of fraud or victims of fraud. If you would like to participate in our loan counseling program, and I hope that you all will, I'm going to ask that you complete this application that's in your folder. You're going to fill out your name, address, any credit information, financial information. You can fill out as much as you think you know right now. We're not worried about that piece of it. We mainly just need your biographical information, because once you come into the office, we're going to pull your detailed credit report, all 3 bureaus, and so we will obtain that information. On the back of this application, you're going to see a bunch of group session dates. And so we're going to ask that you pick a date that's convenient for you, and that's when we're going to bring you into the office and we'll start the process. Once you actually pick that date, just so you know, within a week or so, you're going to receive a letter from our intake coordinator scheduling you or confirming the date that you chose. Now, before your first meeting with your counselor, you should write down any questions so that you'll be sure to ask them when you come in for your counseling session. You're going to need to bring the following documents. Recent pay stubs, you're going to need 1 month's worth. Last 2 years' tax returns. You're going to need $26 for your credit report if we have to pull it, because that's what the bureau charges us. If you have a current credit report, all 3 bureaus, we can definitely use that. And then at the initial session, your initial one-on-one session, the counselor is going to review your employment history, your finances, credit history. The counselor is going to discuss the importance of these items with you. The counselor will look for 2 years of employment, consistent employment. They're going to look for 1 year of clean credit, that no late payments, and that all your payments have been made for 12 months consecutively. We will look for any bankruptcies, and they must be, if you had a bankruptcy, it must be discharged for at least 4 years. And we'll look to see that you have sufficient funds for down payment and closing costs. For those of you that are deemed mortgage ready, the counselor will start to begin to counsel you toward home ownership. For those of you who may need to work on your credit, we're going to refer you over to our coaching department, and you're going to learn about that later in the program. Now, when you are actually mortgage ready, the counselor is going to calculate the highest amount you can afford for a mortgage. You will be able to pick from our list of realtors, and you can begin shopping for a home of your own. Now, the reason you're here and what's so special about the mortgages that our participating banks offer our clients, and you met a lot of them outside, is that these mortgages have no points. They have interest rates up to 1% lower than the market rate. There are no private mortgage insurance payments, and the application fees are greatly reduced. When you have completed your counseling and you are deemed mortgage ready, the counselor is going to work with you to see which one of those products will fit your needs. The counselor will then put you in touch with that bank representative, and we will have your application taken at our office or a place of your choosing. The counselor is going to assist you throughout the entire process through your closing. So this is a very, very brief summary of what we do. Our work really will begin once you come into our office. So I thank all of you for coming. I look forward to meeting each and every one of you, and I hope that you will consider joining our program. Thank you so much.
We are so fortunate this morning to have some really great guests that are stopping by to wish you well on your journey to home ownership. And Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver is here today to bring you greetings and wishes. She's also the Commissioner of the Department of Community Affairs, one of the agencies that we work with closely on home buyer activities that we're doing. For a long time, as an Assemblywoman, she has been a strong advocate for women and for home ownership, and I can think of no better place for her to be than this Saturday afternoon at NJIT. Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I could not be more excited to see the hundreds of people that are here this afternoon. And New Jersey Citizen Action, I have been a long-time fan of. I don't know how many of you have had familiarity with Citizen Action through the years, but Phyllis Salloway Kay, I could go back probably, but don't count, 30 years with her. And I first met Phyllis when she was a strong advocate for tenants in Essex County and across the state. And, you know, a lot of people did not realize, but federal banking laws mandate and require that banks in communities do investment in communities, especially underserved communities. And it's known as the Credit Reinvestment Act. Well, a lot of banks were in communities. They weren't making loans to people. They weren't helping people get capital for their businesses. And Citizen Action was probably one of the first organizations in the country to go into communities whenever banks wanted to merge, and she would shut those mergers down until banks stepped up and did the right thing. Citizen Action did that. And I'm here this afternoon with two messages. First, I want to bring you greetings from Governor Phil Murphy. And yes. And you know that Governor Murphy and I ran on a platform of creating a stronger and fairer economy in the state of New Jersey that works for all families, all families. And I think what's happening here today is reflective of what our commitment is to families in New Jersey. As the Commissioner of the Department of Community Affairs, my department probably is the one public institution that administers most of the Section 8 housing programs in the state, programs for housing for special populations, special needs people. But one of our primary priorities is helping more people in New Jersey become homeowners. Attached to my department is something called the New Jersey Housing Mortgage Finance Agency. And we just rolled out a program that provides financing for first-time home buyers. And if you qualify for our program, you can acquire up to $50,000 to help you towards your home purchase and your closing costs. Now, we have experienced high rates of home foreclosure in New Jersey. And that is why the work that Citizen Action does is so important. We don't know what all those papers are that are thrust in front of our faces, and when we go to make a purchase, you stay there half the day signing your life away. Often, you have to pay attention to the small print, what it says about interest, what it says about, quote, balloon payments after a certain, do you get a fixed rate mortgage? Do you get a 15-year mortgage? And in 2008, when the United States experienced what we called a bubble in the real estate market, one of the reasons that bubble occurred is because people were pushed into what we call the subprime mortgage industry. A lot of shenanigans went on. A lot of people were really shafted, and it thrust a lot of families into foreclosure. Another program that we just rolled out through HMFA is a program to provide counseling to those who are confronted with foreclosure. And I'm proud to say that New Jersey Citizen Action has been a long-time organization that worked in that arena, and they are continuing to work with us now. The best thing that is happening for all of you here today, if your aspiration is to buy a home, there is no better place for you to become prepared and educated and knowing how to come up with the financing you will need and some of the things we often don't think about when we buy a house. I know when I bought a house, I went to see this house in October, and there was a park across the street, and I just thought it was lovely. You know, it had trees and a walking, rink and everything. But when it got hot, and they started coming for the playground and the basketball courts, and now they put a splash park in there. Okay, so now I endure that during the months from probably Memorial Day till Labor Day. But it taught me something. It taught me that when you go look for your perfect place, don't just look while you're there. You know, come back in the morning, come in the afternoon, see who your neighbors are around you. All of these little tricks of the trade you got to pay attention to. Is there a lot of grass to cut? You know, is there ample play space for your children? And you know, you're going to get all of that kind of support through this program. The most important thing, though, is to, no matter what community you live in, or certainly in our state, you have to make certain that you put people in places that are going to have your best interests at heart. You have to, because one of the first things we did in this Murphy administration was to begin to change policies that help people pursue what their American dream is. I could tell you that I went to Washington, D.C. when the Trump administration first got started, because he appointed a man to be the U.S. Treasury Secretary. He had been the head of a bank called Nat One Bank. Nat One Bank cheated more people in this country who purchased homes than any bank in the country. Senior citizens, a lot of them as they get older, their houses may be paid for, but they can't keep up with the taxes and the maintenance. So there's a product for older people that is called a reverse mortgage. Well, he took the homes of 18,000 older adults who he put into reverse mortgages but didn't tell them the details. So I'm not going to tell you if I'm a D or an R, but you pretty much figure out what I am. You kind of figure out what I am. But I'm going to close by saying we've got congressional races coming up. Make sure you go out and vote for your representative in Congress. And I will tell you, the best ones are in my column, the D. The best ones are in my column. And you see what's been going on all week. You see who these folks are trying to put in as a Supreme Court justice, who will make decisions about finance and our lives and business transactions. I cannot emphasize enough to you the importance of voting. Voting matters, and the people who represent you matter. And Phyllis pointed out to you that I was in the state legislature for 15 years. I served as the Speaker of the General Assembly, first black woman in the state to serve as a Speaker. But what that experience taught me, if our voices are not in the room, bad things happen. So let's make sure we put the right voices in the room. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. Next, I want to introduce to you one of our graduates from our program, Miss Donna Hall-Lee, and she's going to tell you about her experience going through Citizen Action and purchasing her home. Come on, Donna.
Good afternoon, everybody. So, I have owned my home, well, I have a condo. So I've owned my condo for 4 years, so I'm a long-time owner. But just 4 years ago, I was sitting out in the audience just like you guys. I learned about the program through Facebook. And at that time, I had just retired, but I worked part-time as well. So I was thinking and let me also tell you that I had been divorced for about 8 years. But when I was married, we owned a home together. But I was divorced for about 8 years. And since my divorce, I had been renting. And I was not satisfied with any place I rented. So I rented for 8 years, and I probably moved 6 times out of those 8 years for all kinds of reasons. So I thought, well, I saw the advertisement about the event, and I thought, I'm probably not a first-time home buyer. I don't think I should go. I don't even have a full-time job. But then, I don't know, something came over me and I decided, what the heck, let me go and hear what they had to say. So when I came here and I listened to the presentation, I started to think, could I possibly get back in this game? Like, could I own a home? And then I got nervous, but I filled out the little form to say, I wanted to have counseling through the program. And my counselor was wonderful. It was Diane, so I'm going to give her a shout out. So I went there and I was nervous. I met Diane at a local bank in my town. At that time, I was renting in Rahway. And so I told Diane my situation about being divorced, and she explained to me, oh, well, you haven't been a homeowner in whatever the number of years were, so it's like you're a first-time home buyer again. So I kind of felt like, okay, maybe this could work. And then I said, but I just retired. So then she explained to me everything that she needed, and she kind of held my hand through it all. I didn't know if my credit was good because I was married to a blank hole, but it turns out that he was doing everything on his own, which was good for me, okay? So my credit turned out to be good, but I did explain to Diane that I had concerns. And so she said, if there's a problem with your credit after I run everything, then I'll tell you what you have to do to, kind of build it back up. So she held my hand all the way, but it turned out everything was fine. Then I chose, I think she gave me a list of, we talked about how much I could afford, and then we talked about the different banks and the different programs. So I chose a bank that I thought met my needs. So I wanted a lower interest rate. But each bank offers different things, and your credit counselor will be able to tell you about all of that. Now the thing, it's a fly in here, I'm not going crazy. But the thing about banks is that, you know, they want a lot of stuff from you, and sometimes you have to send it multiple times. So I'll just say up front, be patient on that end. So now I'm just going to fast forward because I only have 5 minutes, and I could talk a lot, but I only have 5 minutes. So anyway, finally I got my condo. Like I said, I'm retired, so I have a condo in an active adult building. So the best thing about this whole thing is that, you know how when you rent, you have those stupid white walls, and if you change the color, you gotta paint before you leave, or if you put holes in the walls because you want to hang family pictures, you know, they charge you for everything. They do everything they can to keep your security deposit. So, but when you own, you can paint the walls any colors you want. That's the thing that stood out to me the most, was that I don't like white walls. I like beige, tan, whatever. So that stood out to me the most. And I'm a foodie, so I was able to get nice appliances, not the broke down appliances. Yes, yes. Whoever's saying yes, yes. I was able, yes, yes, I was moving on up. So I was able to get the kind of appliances I want. Nothing fancy, but better than the regular, you know, white stove that sometimes worked or didn't work. One place I rented, there was actually a roach in the stove, okay? So, and this was supposed to be upscale. So anyway, that's my story, and I wish everybody well, and I hope that next year, one of you out there will be here. Yes, you. Thank you.
Really quick, before we bring up our next graduate, I want to acknowledge LaMonica McIver. And would you like to say a few words? No? Just hello? She is our Central Ward Council person.
Hello, everyone. I hear somebody saying, hey, LaMonica. So that means that I got some Central Ward residents here in the house. For those who do not know me, I am the newly elected youngest member of the Municipal Council for the City of Newark. It's such a pleasure for me to be here today. I'm so happy to see a lot of people in the room. I'm always running around supporting home ownership. I wish I would have knew about this program a couple of years ago. It would have saved me a lot of heartache. But I am happy to be here and happy to, you know, wish you guys well in your home ownership process. The 2 quick points I would give is, 1, be patient. It is very stressful. I myself was homeless, or not homeless living on the street, but homeless not in a place of my own for a whole year because I was in the process of buying a home. It fell through and I had nowhere to go, and I needed to give up that lease in that apartment so I can get my deposit money back, right? So I was displaced for a while, and then I found the place, and you know, it's a patient process. You have to have good patience. You have to, you know, just brace yourself for the things ahead. But at the same time, do not be discouraged. A lot of people who are renting, I was renting, paying $1,700, $1,800 for rent, and I'm like, oh no, a house would be too much. I'll be paying so much. And then once you go through the process, you find out, well, mortgages is like $1,500 or $1,600. So I came out a lot cheaper rather than paying market rate rent, which is very high these days. very high. And so it's definitely a patient process, but also, you cannot be discouraged. Here in Newark, especially if you're a Central Ward resident, we are definitely encouraging our people to buy houses, become owners, especially women. And I see a couple of fellas in the audience, but unfortunately, I'm here for women. I'm here, to basically encourage you, especially for us single women. For me, becoming a homeowner, yes, type it up for single women, definitely. Before I had bought my home, I kept saying, oh, I'm gonna get married, then I'm gonna buy me a house, we're gonna have this white picket fence, and you just keep getting discouraged waiting on that time. But then I'm like, no, Jesus, you have to help me now. And so at 29, I bought my own house, and I've never been more happier than ever with my own place. So definitely to the single women here, even if you're here with your partner, with your mate, definitely be a homeowner. Do not be discouraged. Don't wait on that grandiose day. You can if you want to, but definitely you can go get you that house and go get you a bigger house when you find that husband or that partner that you're looking for. So definitely do not be discouraged. Do not wait on anything. Go after it. So on behalf of the Municipal Council, and I heard our mayor's going to be here, our Honorable Mayor Ras Baraka is going to be here, but on behalf of the City Council, we definitely wish you well today. I hope most of you come out on top and definitely get the assistance and need that you need. I see my colleague walking in, South Ward Councilman John James. But definitely, I wish you well today. Thank you. Take care, guys.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Are we happy to get here, be here, get some knowledge, try and get some home ownership, possibly some businesses started today? On behalf of the City of Newark, led by Honorable Mayor Ras Baraka, I am South Ward Councilman John Sharp James. And I'm so happy you're here to get information. Home ownership is so important that if you think about your future, your number one fixed debt will be your mortgage or your rent. Now, what are the differences between the two? Your rent will always go up, and your mortgage, if you manage it correctly, over a 30-year period, will go down. Now imagine how much money and opportunity you will have if you don't have to pay that fixed income, that fixed bill, that fixed $1,300 a month, or $1,400 a month, or $2,000 a month. Imagine over a 30-year period, your monthly payments go down. Meanwhile, work-wise, you're not guaranteed a raise. Things may happen in your life that require you to have liquid money. Health crisis, sending a kid to college. Rent will not help you in that area. A mortgage, you will build equity over that 30-year period. After 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, you may have $10,000, $12,000, $20,000 in equity in your home. My first piece of real estate, after 7 years, I refinanced it back out to 30 years. That reduced it in half alone right there. The amount of opportunity because of that allowed me to pay off other debt, college debt, law school debt, student loans, and more money for your children, your family, and if you want to start a business, that's money you can start your business with. Too many people go to a bank, ask them to give you a loan, but when they ask what your collateral is, you have nothing. If you have equity in your home, if you show you can make consistent payments, if you show you're stable financially, they will give you that loan because they don't want to take all of your risk. So you got a phenomenal program here. I suggest everyone pay attention to it. There are a lot of negative things out in the mortgage world. There's predatory lending. There's those who will make you sign documents that later on your mortgage may balloon. So if you listen to this organization, listen to this group, hire the right attorneys. If you're disciplined with your spending, owning a home will allow you so much economic opportunity that as the years go by, you'll say, thank you. I'm glad I was in this program. I'm glad I listened to some of the speakers, and I'm in so much of a better place now than my friends who are still renting, and the rent goes up every year, yet I'm building equity in my home or starting a business so that I can have a better quality of life for myself and my family. So again, thank you. Pay attention today. This is the beginning of a new chapter. If you don't own a home, this is the first step. God bless you.
We're not done yet. Next, we have another one of our graduates. I'm going to introduce to you Ms. Kimberly Robinson.
Hello, everybody. I've been, what? Oh, right into it? Okay. So, I've been with this program. I'm finished. I'll say that. I own my home. It'll be 2 years in November. I am in Warren County, actually. So I came from work, so I'm close to Pennsylvania. I believe in this much that I ran from work to get here. I'll explain to you. It's 50 miles, whatever. I'm here. I've been in this program for years. I didn't work it. I started with a gentleman that's retired now. I thought about it, I forgot about it. I came, single mother, with my kid every year. They used to do it in Essex County. I don't know how long ago that was, 90s. I would come, I would say, I want to own a home soon. I think I'm gonna do it, right? To tell the truth, I was on welfare, trying to figure it out. Got a career, still trying to figure it out. Renting for years, when I added it up, I was like, I could have owned a home by now. 150, whatever. I moved home, I gave it up, everything, partying, everything, for about a year and a half. I remembered something about our first time homebuyers club. They introduced me to Diane. I said, oh, I forgot about that program. Oh my God. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna come. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna pay attention. Diane did a great, great job. That's all I gotta say. If you work the program, it will work for you. Do the work. Like they said, be patient. You might not be in this area, because I'm not in this area. I couldn't afford it. I'm originally from Hillside. I couldn't afford it. I went farther out. I got the size that I wanted. I got the things that I wanted. It's beautiful. It's a commute, but it's beautiful and it's mine. It's mine. And the program is so good. These women that went through the program, I forgot her name. She was here so many times before me. You go, girl. And it is what you make of it. You do it. You just do your homework. Get your paperwork. Get those bills. Line them up. Be honest with yourself about that budget. If you cannot do it, I can't go. I ain't going on that trip. I ain't going to that wedding. I ain't doing none of that. I got a goal. When you buy it, do your projects. Dream of it. Look at it. Go in the stores and just dream about it and see it. Because the more that you get into it, it's like, I gotta have it now. If that first house is not your house, it might be the second house. Just like the other girl said, oh no. The other woman said, go to the neighborhood. Go to the neighborhood. Holidays. Drive up on the 4th of July. See what's going on, who cooking out. Roll through on the snow days to see if they do the snow. Pay attention. If you gotta go out, ask questions. Hi, how you doing? How you feeling? Do it. The program works. The program works. You gotta just do your work. Your work is your work. I just come every year to say thank you to everyone.
Good luck.
So thank you all so much. We do have a lot of information for you this afternoon, and I know Councilman James and Lieutenant Governor Oliver had both mentioned, the different types of scams and frauds that are out there. And so part of today is about giving you information on what you need to do to protect yourself from those scams and frauds, because the home buying process, that's the most complicated process. It's probably one of the biggest purchases we're going to make in our lifetime. So we want to make sure that as we go through that process, you have the best information and that you're getting the best, most affordable mortgage. Everyone here can be a home buyer and a homeowner. It does not matter what your situation is today, what your credit looks like today, but no one needs to get a home tomorrow. Everyone should take the time to work on your credit, to work on building your budget and your savings so that you can qualify for those wonderful affordable mortgage programs that you see out there by all the banks and that you're going to hear about in a few minutes, so that you can get that below market rate mortgage, so that you can get that $50,000 down payment assistance program that Lieutenant Governor Oliver spoke about. So a big part of what we do at Citizen Action, we also talk to individuals, home buyers, renters, about your rights under the Federal Fair Housing Act, and that's part of our financial education program. Citizen Action is one of only 2 fair housing agencies in New Jersey. And what we do is we educate consumers, home buyers, tenants on your rights under that law, as well as additional state protections here in New Jersey. Because unfortunately, especially in the current environment, there's a lot of landlords that will tell you, sorry, we don't rent to families with young kids under the age of 10, or, we don't take Section 8 here. There are protections and there are rights under state law that says that it is illegal to tell someone that they will not rent to you if you are on Section 8. So it's important for you to know what your rights are under the Fair Housing Act and under additional state laws. Under the Federal Fair Housing Act, there are protections that say it is illegal to discriminate against someone when you are trying to rent or finance housing on the basis of your race, your color, your national origin, your religion, your sex, your disability, or your familial status, whether or not you have kids, or if you're expecting a child. Here in New Jersey, as I said, it's also illegal to discriminate against anyone who is trying to obtain housing on the basis of their source of income, whether or not you have Section 8, and on the basis of your sexual orientation. So if anyone here has experienced any type of discrimination when you've been trying to obtain housing, whether you were renting an apartment in a big building, trying to rent a room somewhere, you can contact Citizen Action and we can actually investigate that housing discrimination complaint. And you're going to hear a little bit more about the type of investigation that we do from our Fair Housing Intake Coordinator. But this year is a special year. 2018 marks the 50th anniversary of the Federal Fair Housing Act, which was passed a week after Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated. And unfortunately, this year, despite this historic anniversary, the Fair Housing Act is under attack. There are a lot of people that are trying to weaken the protections under the Fair Housing Act. So we definitely need you to keep reporting if you are finding any cases of discrimination. And discrimination does not only apply when you're trying to rent a house. As you're trying to purchase a house, there are a lot of ways that you can be discriminated against. And when you talk about predatory lending, those are types of loans that usually will target individuals based on your race, low-income individuals, seniors, individuals with disabilities, women, individuals who don't speak English as their first language are always targeted by a lot of different types of scam artists out there. So we want to make sure that you know, as you're going through the first-time homebuyer process, the types of things that you should be careful of and the types of things that you can do to protect yourself. So when you talk about that complicated home buying process, the first thing that everybody can do here today is make sure that you get assistance from a reputable, qualified agency to go through that process. That's why we keep talking about HUD-certified housing counseling. Citizen Action is a HUD-certified housing counseling agency, but there are other agencies across the state. The reason we tell people to work with a housing counselor is because they're regulated by the government. They can't charge you high fees to provide you services. We don't charge any fees for our housing counseling service. And as I said, no one needs to get a mortgage tomorrow. Everybody can take the time to work on your credit and qualify for those really good, affordable mortgage products. When you talk about the different products that are out there, it's important to know that there are really 3 different categories of loans out there. There are the prime loans or the conventional loans, and those are the loans that can give you the best interest rates, the lowest fees. But in order to qualify for that, you have to have good credit or credit above a certain score. And that's why we say everybody should be able to qualify for those good prime mortgages, and here, the special affordable mortgage programs and services. For individuals with less than perfect credit, there's always individuals who are going to say, I'm not going to take the time to fix my credit. I need to get a house, and I'm going to get a house tomorrow. And there are always going to be mortgage companies out there that will tell you they can get you a loan, doesn't matter what your credit looks like. And because you have less than perfect credit, they charge you higher interest rates and higher fees, and that would be like a subprime loan. And subprime loan, again, they're charging you higher rates and fees, and that's to offset the less than perfect credit. Subprime loans are not illegal, but they are a lot more expensive. And then that third category is what we would refer to as predatory loans. Generally, predatory loans are always in that subprime category because they're not as regulated as the loans you would get walking into a bank. And the predatory loans charge high fees. They try and steer you into unnecessary types of insurance, prepayment penalties, balloon loans without giving you information. And those predatory loans will always target individuals who are least likely to be able to repay those loans. So it's really important to know, because the mortgage process is so complicated, that you take your time going through that process. So that's why we say the number one thing that you should take away from this is that everyone can purchase a home, but you should get some assistance as you go through that process, and you work with a HUD-certified housing counselor agency. The second thing that I would say is make sure as you go through that first-time homebuyer process that you have a reputable attorney that's there to represent your interests. Now that means that you should not use an attorney that's referred by the bank, that's referred by your realtor, that's referred by the seller of the property, because imagine if the seller is saying, oh, use my guy as your attorney, you don't necessarily know that that person is looking out for your interests. Maybe they're looking out for the seller's interest, or maybe they're looking out for the bank's interest, or maybe they're looking out for the realtor's interest. Get your own independent attorney that will help you through that process, because you're going to get a stack of papers this big that you're going to need to sign at closing. So get your own attorney as you go through the home buying process. And the last thing that I would say is make sure that you get a home inspection when you purchase your home. When you buy a home, you're buying it as is. So it doesn't matter what somebody promised you. Don't worry about it. We're going to take care of that oil tank. We'll get rid of it. We'll fix the boiler. We'll fix the roof. Unless it's in writing, once you go through the closing, you're buying that house as is. So the home inspection, again, is something that's really important for all of you as home buyers. You want to make sure you know how old is the boiler, how many layers is on the roof, is there an oil tank underneath that you might eventually have to take out and fix. You want to know what the actual condition is of your property. So again, use a home inspector that is an independent home inspector and is not referred to you by the seller, by the lender, by a realtor. Get an independent home inspector, and we can give you information on where you can find qualified licensed inspectors and attorneys when you come in for your counseling appointment. So again, it's really, really important that you know that everybody here today, you can all be homeowners. We just want to make sure that you have the best information as you go through that process. So that's just a little bit of information on some of the things to watch out for. One of the other things I just wanted to quickly mention to you, kind of just shifting gears a little bit, but again, dealing with a financial burden that affects all of us, is the issue of student loan debt. Unfortunately, student loan debt is exploding. We know grandparents who take out loans for their grandchildren or are still paying for their kids' student loans. You know parents that are paying for their children's loans. And you might have had a student loan from 10 years ago and you still have that student loan debt. And in a lot of instances, student loan debt can really prevent you from accessing affordable housing because that's going to take away from the amount of home you can afford to buy if you have a lot of student loan debt. So Citizen Action is actually working on the issue of student loan debt, where we can see what kinds of protections we can provide for consumers across New Jersey. But to do that, when we talk to policymakers and we tell them about the problems people are having with student loan debt, we need to be able to tell them, yes, there are people, there are constituents, voters here in New Jersey that have problems with student loan debt. And so everybody will see at their table, or if you didn't, if there's not enough copies at the table, there's one of these purple flyers here in the middle of the table. If there are not enough, we have extras outside. But this just gives you a little bit of information about the student loan crisis here in New Jersey. Student loan debt is the second highest debt that people have after mortgages, before car loans, before credit card debt. Student loan debt is a huge problem. And so if you or anyone you know has a serious issue with student loan debt, and you're interested in sharing your story with us so that we can talk to policymakers and tell them about protections and issues that we're having in New Jersey, please fill out that inside piece of paper there. It's just a couple questions. We definitely would love to talk more with you about that in the future. So if you have the time to do that before you leave, fill that out. If you know anyone that's having major issues, maybe you went to one of those for-profit schools and you weren't even able to get your certification, but you got saddled with this huge loan afterwards. Or they promised you a job afterwards and you never were able to get a job, but you still have the debt. Those are the kinds of things we need to hear about so we can tell people this is a big problem in New Jersey. So fill that out before you leave. And if you can also talk to Beverly Brown-Ruja, who's our organizer on that issue. Beverly is, I think, outside, so you can talk to her about that if you have questions about it. And if you're dealing with managing student loan debt, Citizen Action has certified financial coaches that can help you deal with student loan debt, and you're going to hear from one of our coaches about that as well. But these are issues that affect you as home buyers because you're going to be dealing with this debt as you're trying to qualify for a mortgage. There are lots of scams and frauds out there, so that's why we wanted to give you this information as well as you go through the home buying process. And again, if anybody has any cases of housing discrimination or you think you're the victim of some type of fraud or scam, you can speak to us as well. There's this flyer inside your packet on the left-hand side in English and Spanish about what to do if you're the victim of housing discrimination, and you're going to hear a little bit more about the type of investigation we do about that. But thank you all so much, and that's all I wanted to say about the different types of frauds and scams to watch out for. And so now I wanted to actually introduce our senior financial coach. His name is Mr. Wade Wheeler.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I provide free financial coaching to New Jersey residents, and what we do with our financial coaching program is sit one-on-one. We help you identify specific goals that you want to set for yourself. We help you conduct a thorough review of your credit, of the debt that you're spending on, and more critically, we help you create a monthly spending and savings plan, one that will have a positive cash flow that allows you to be able to save to buy a home, okay? And that's so important because even after you close on the purchase of your home, the most important behavior mindset you can have is to continue to save at the rate that you used to save even before you were buying the home. Very, very important. Depending on some of the needs and interests of the clients, we help you with, oh my God, I touched something I shouldn't have touched, sorry about that. We help you with credit improvement and debt reduction programs. We help you look at various financial products that allow you to be able to reach your goals, things such as club savings, checking accounts, credit builder loans, certain types of personal loans, secured credit cards. And for most of you who have the automated, the laptops and the tablets and cell phones, helping you how to use your wireless devices to be able to pick up, different banking apps that, or rather, financial management apps that allow you to watch your money. See, the most important thing you could do is to build the mindset to take control of your money regularly so that you can stay on course, and that, and as Layla led into, the new thing that we're trying to really help clients is this, deal killer, sometimes purchasing a home, helping you understand how to address that student loan debt. Many times, you let the payment go because you couldn't afford it, or because you, it was just, it just slipped your mind, as life goes on. However, consumers need to be aware the, student loan servicers and creditors can garnish your paycheck without a court order should you be in default and they just want to come after you, take your money. And one of the things that's very important if you decide to work with us with coaching, let's help you nip those situations in the bud, show you the various options that are available, providing through the government or whoever your servicer is, and help you get on track, because there's no way you're going to close on the purchase of a home without being able to control that debt and making sure that there's enough room for affordability for your household needs, the mortgage, all the other things that come with home ownership. So this is a free service. We just charge a small fee if you want to invest into your, for your credit report. And the big takeaway is that, you had some of the prior speakers mentioning that you have to do the work, you have to do the work. But the way I look at it as a coach, you're investing in yourself. We help you guide and provide tools and resources to help make that easy for you. So when you're going through the thought, I'm doing the work, no, have the mindset that you're investing in yourself, and we're going to help you get through some of these goals, because whenever it comes to running any type of household or livelihood, investing in property or investing in a business, it takes money. And that's what we try to help you build, the mindset to always be able to control and have that money accumulate to satisfy your dreams. So thank you very much for your time. I'm at the table right on the right-hand side and way out if you have personal questions, and all the best.
Thank you again to Wade. And now I would like to introduce Candace Harper, who's our Fair Housing Intake and Outreach Coordinator. She would be the one that you would call if you think you're the victim of some type of housing discrimination, scam, or fraud. So, Candace, come on.
Good afternoon. Again, my name is Candace Harper. I am the Outreach and Intake Coordinator for New Jersey Citizen Action. The department I deal with, we enforce any types of forms of discrimination. If you feel you're being discriminated against upon trying to rent a home, purchase a home, or obtain a loan for a home, if you feel you were denied in any action while doing these things, and you feel it's based on discrimination due to your race, your color, the fact that you have children, your disability, your national origin, and you feel that there's something deeply that you were denied because of this, I and my co-worker, Amanda, we're the people that you would contact. We do, and then we will do further investigation towards that, what we call testing, or investigating the issue with either the bank, the property management company, or the the mortgage companies. We also, so it's good to know that fair housing is the law, it's your right, and you're entitled to. So, and on this journey, I'm glad that I see all of you here for going on this journey, but be cautious while you're going through it, because there are a lot of scams out there, people trying to do things, they don't want you in a specific area. Let me give you a couple examples An example of the type of discrimination would be a landlord, for instance, or a lender or insurance person told you that in person something totally different than what they said to you on the phone. Also, it could be the fact that the rental or sales agent claims the property isn't good enough for families with children, okay? Also, a lot of it comes with steering. They're steering you into an area where they don't feel that you should be. For instance, an example of steering is refusing them telling you that it's not a good neighborhood for families or children or persons with disabilities, and they're putting you into a different area, location. You want to live, let's say you want to live in an area where there's better schools or whatever, but because your color is not that many of you there, they'd steer you to the other side of the tracks, okay? So these are things you need to be careful of when you're looking for a place with your agents or anything like that. And if you have any additional questions or anything, we do have information out front, and my cards are out there as well in regards to this. And we also have brochures in your folders. Thank you.
Thank you again, Candace. And now we'd like to introduce another one of our graduates, Mary Labrada.
Wow, this is a big room with a lot of people in it, but that's okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here. So I actually started my journey before contacting New Jersey Citizen in Action, and I kind of regret that decision a little bit. I think I would have done things a lot faster, and things would have gone a lot smoother for me had I done that. So my story started when I left my ex-husband and got divorced. And I had to leave a scary situation. So here I was, he owned the house, he made a lot more money than I did, and he owned the house, so I basically left with nothing. $15,000 of credit card debt, and $52,000 of student loan debt that I'm still paying off. So here I was, and I had nowhere to live, so luckily, I have really great parents, I have a great relationship with them, and they were willing and able to take me in. And that was a little tough. Here I was in my 30s. So, you know, my first thing is, if you've got family that's willing to help, take their help, even if, you know, you have to make some sacrifices and you've got to live with some family members maybe. If that's what you need to do to get your financial situation on track, then, you know, you got to swallow your pride sometimes. And like I said, I recognize, you know, that I'm very grateful that they were willing and able to take me in. I know not everybody has that situation, so, but sometimes it's a little tough to take the help, so if it's there, take it. So then I was like, okay, well, I need to work on my credit card debt. So I threw a bunch of money at it. And because of the interest rates, nothing happened. I owed just as much at the end of the year as I started that year. So I realized, I mean, I had been making all my payments on time, so my credit was good. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it was in the mid-700s, so it wasn't too bad. So I took out a personal loan. I think somebody else had mentioned something about taking out a personal loan. That is one way of trying to manage that. So I took out a personal loan, lowered my interest rate dramatically, and then started making some headway to paying that off. By doing that, I wasn't throwing as much money at the credit cards now, so I was able to put money away into a bank account, into a savings account. And I have to say, one thing that helped is open a savings account in a bank that's hard to get your money out of. Keep it separate from your every day-to-day bank accounts, because that way you're not looking at it. Because if you see that money sitting in that savings account every time you go in to use your checking account, you're like, oh, but it's so easy to transfer. No, I put it in a separate account. There's a lot of high-yield savings accounts. Bankrate.com has information about that kind of thing, and I'm sure if you talk to counselors at New Jersey Citizen Action, they probably will tell you about that. So yeah, put that money where you don't see it. That way you can save it. So after a while, I had started working this and I had saved some money. That's when I decided to contact New Jersey Citizen Action. I had found out about the program through a friend of mine who had gone through them probably about 15 years ago now. She had graduated from business school and she bought her first condo. You know, at that time, she's way better with money than I am, by the way. That's why she did it at 25 and I was in like my mid-30s. She had told me about it, but even just taking that first step was really scary. After going through the situation I was in and trying to get my life back together, it was a big step to just even pick up the phone and make that phone call. So, you know, sometimes you just got to feel the fear and do it anyway. Like, don't let the fear stop you. Talk to somebody. Like I said, I probably should have contacted them before. Diane was great. I had met with her when I kind of started the process of looking for a home. And so at this point, my credit had greatly improved already, so that was taken care of, and I had some money in the bank. But, you know, I was able to have an honest conversation with her about what I could afford, what my budget would look like, what I would need to account for. I purchased a condo in Keyport, New Jersey, so I'm down by the shore, which I love being by the water, so that worked out really well for me, and the area was really nice. So, you know, I have a bike trail near me. So, yeah, definitely look at different areas and see where you want to live and what's going to make you happy and what you can afford. One of the things, like, I know there was mention about scams and fraud and things like that, but one of the things that kind of struck me that wasn't mentioned, and this is not so much a scam or fraud, but more so like when you talk to a real estate agent, you might be approved for a certain amount of money for your loan. Look at what you actually, you know, I keep hitting this. Look at what you actually can afford and make sure you know what your budget is, because just because the bank says you can afford so much, maybe that might be uncomfortable for you, and you have to account for the fact that you might have to do repairs. Like, I painted my whole condo. Yay, painting condos, painting walls, right? I love my walls, my gray and blue walls. They're wonderful. And I also refloored my condo. And I had a lot of help from my brother, so I was able to do some other projects you know, on the cheap. But the main thing is, my real estate agent was trying to convince me to spend more than I was comfortable with. Stick to your guns and stick to your budget. Don't get greedy. Don't get, you know, your eyes wide open like, wow, I can afford. No. Be realistic, right? Focus. Be realistic, because she was trying, and it wasn't that she was doing anything illegal, but you know, real estate agents make their money off of a commission. So the more you spend, the more they make. So make sure you stick to your guns. This is what I can afford. And I had to keep reminding her, hey, $52,000 in student loans, I've got to pay those back. Also, a quick note about, I currently work for Rutgers, and I did work a long time ago. Woo, Rutgers, are you? A long time ago, I did work for a for-profit school. I was like really young and stupid back then, and I didn't last long at that job. Watch out with those. You know, if you can get the same kind of education and program at a community college, you can do so usually for a lot less money than you can at a for-profit school. So just watch out with that, because the student loan debt is not fun. You know, my $52,000 paid for a bachelor's and a master's degree. So it's not, you know, look at what you're getting for your money too. That's just on a quick side note, since I happen to work in education. But anyway, this is definitely a great program, and I'm very fortunate that I was able to buy my condo and, you know, make the move to live on my own, especially after going through everything I went through. So thank you so much for listening.
Hi guys, and I just want to point out before I introduce our last graduate, when you come into Citizen Action and we pre-qualify you for a mortgage, we are going to do that based on your net income, not your gross. Most of the time the banks will qualify you on your gross, but we're going to qualify you on what you're actually bringing home, okay? Last, I want to introduce our last but not least graduate, Marian Menendez.
brought notes because I'm brand new. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I just bought my house 2 months ago. I want to say thank you to New Jersey Citizen Action, to Phyllis, to Benita. I was with you guys. I've been here coming to this program since 2013. I had to get my stuff in order. But it's a great program, like my other fellow graduates said. You have to do the work. You have to get all of these documents in order. It's a long process. You have to be patient, but it pays off. It took me 2 years to buy my house. You're going to get outbid. You're going to find homes that need repair. You're going to find homes that are out of your budget. But if you really, really want something, you're going to stick to your guns and you're going to be patient. And you're going to pray and you're going to get it. So I'm here to spread some infectious enthusiasm. The housing market is very volatile. Hang in there. Newark is on the up. So I'm a Newark resident, born and raised. I bought in Newark. My kids go to a charter school here. So, you know, it is not impossible. These programs make it possible. Just a few notes in my journey since it's fresh and still new. Find a good agent. Find someone that you, follow your gut. Find someone that you can have an honest rapport with. Find someone that's genuine, that really wants to help you, that's not only looking at their commission. Speak to people, get informed, do the research. There is a plethora of information on the internet. Not everything you find is gonna be true. A lot of information is outdated. You might see a home on Zillow.com, which is already under contract. So know where to go, get a lot of information. If you do the work and you do the research, you're in a better position. Why? Because education matters. If you are informed, then nobody can pull nothing over on you. So make sure that if this is the most largest purchase you will ever do, I rented forever. I didn't have children until later, thank God. And when I had children, I wanted a home. It changed everything for me. So I got my home as a later, older adult. I'm going to be paying my home forever, but that's fine. You know why? Because it's mine. So there are a lot of great banks here. Take advantage of the programs. Programs change from year to year. There are many subsidies that are available. There are county programs, there are state programs, there are federal programs. Ask, talk, look. The more you look, the more you will find. They're not gonna fall on your lap if you don't go searching for them. You have to look, and you have to, thank God now for the internet, you have search engines that can help you do that. You know, and not all that information is current, so don't be afraid to call. This is important to you. You know, this became a side hustle for me. It was a part-time job to get the information, to get programs, to become acclimated, to be informed. So it's important. And you do have to be patient. Like I said, there are gonna be bidding wars. I went through so many offer letters. I would go to my bank. I would go to Jessica, my loan counselor, who was great. She was there with me the whole 2 years. She kept saying, you're gonna have a housewarming party, you better invite me. So if anything I can leave you with, please take this away. Save money. Every income tax return I had to like stash it, because that's gonna make such a difference for your down payment, for your monthly. There are great tools out there. Use the calculators. Don't forget to account for HOA fees for those of you who buy a condo. I bought a townhome. I was fortunate enough that I paid all my HOA fees for the year. I just worry about my mortgage. And guess what? My mortgage is less than the rent I paid. So it pays off. It really does. And leave a cushion, because like my colleague said, 3 days in, when I moved in, my central air tanked. I mean, thank goodness I'm a maniac and I was prepared. But, you know, though you're going to account for expenses, the roof, the boiler, you know, once it's yours, the good and the bad. It's wonderful because it's yours, but then you have a deck and you have to paint it. And, you know, so a lot comes with it, but it's wonderful. So that's all I have. God bless you all. Thank you and good luck.
So now you've heard from 4 of our, Benita calls them graduates, our successful buyers. Let's give them one more hand. Hopefully next year, one of you will be sitting here, standing here. Obviously, we've been doing this for more than 20 years. That's a lot of homes that we've put people into. Earlier today, you heard the Lieutenant Governor, Sheila Oliver, talk about, besides working here in the state, how we had to keep a really good watch on what was happening in Washington, especially about the programs that we care about. We have to make sure that HUD, who funds Citizen Action, continues to get funded, and we continue to be able to do these free services for you. We need to make sure that there's a Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that's out there, that's working, certainly better than it is today, helping you keep track of predatory loans and people who are making student loans and in a way that they shouldn't be. And because of that, we need to have a voice in DC that represents us, someone who sits on a committee that actually works on housing and banking issues. And we have been so fortunate to have a U.S. Senator, Senator Bob Menendez, who's here with us today, who has been fighting the fight for us. Beverly, where's Beverly? Beverly and I traveled to Washington a lot to meet with him and his staff on Capitol Hill, telling him the kinds of things we need. Most of the time he knows anyway, but we just have to reinforce it. And we need to keep him there. I'm going to make an announcement here today that nobody knows about, including the senator, and that is that last week, and he will be getting a letter probably on Monday, the Citizen Action Political Action Committee endorsed his race for U.S. Senate, and so we're hoping, we know lots of you registered to vote outside today, that we hope you will cast your vote for Senator Bob Menendez, who I'm going to call up and ask to make some remarks. He was going to be here earlier, but I'm really glad everybody's still here, and remember, you keep your little blue tickets because I see you see what's going on in the front stage.
Well, good afternoon. I didn't get a blue ticket. Do I get a blue ticket? I mean, no. Okay, all right. Well, I got the endorsement, so thank you for that. Anyhow, let me say I'm thrilled to join with you in an incredibly important journey, and I want to thank Phyllis Salloway Kay and Beverly and all of the tremendous people at Citizens Action who actually work every day to help people realize their hopes and dreams and aspirations, including the hopes and dreams and aspirations of having home ownership. So let's give a round of applause to Citizen Action for everything they do. I appreciate it. I want to salute all of you for taking the time on a gorgeous Saturday to be here, to think about your future and that of your family and that of our communities, because there's nothing more powerful than home ownership. Now, maybe some of you are just tired of paying rent. I know that I was, as I was beginning my life, paid a lot of rent. My father, when he was alive, used to say, "Son, paying rent is feeding a dead horse." And I got to understand what he meant. I could never build anything for myself and my family. I was always paying off someone else. And so whatever brought you here today, I'm thrilled that you did it. Even at a time when so many of us think that the economy is rigged for the most rich and powerful, home ownership remains the most critical tool to building wealth for average Americans. It is the single biggest asset they'll have on. It is the asset that will grow in value. It is the asset that if there's a rough time in life, that you'll draw from. It's the asset that maybe you will help educate your children with in the future for a college education or take care of the illness of a loved one. Home ownership is that essence of building wealth in our society, which is why I'm proud of working with Citizens Action as a member of the Senate Banking and Housing Committee, where I am the senior Democrat. on the Housing, Mass Transit, and Urban Affairs Subcommittee. My whole focus as a Democrat on that committee is making sure that the promise of home ownership for a responsible borrower continues to be a reality in our country, because I know what it meant in my family's life and in those who I have represented. Now, I know, as you've already heard from those who have succeeded, and it's great to have people who have gone through Citizens Actions programs to say, this is not pie in the sky. It can happen. It can happen. I know that the process isn't easy, as you've heard, between securing an affordable mortgage, finding a home that's in your budget, in a community that you like, with good schools and a decent commute time. It can feel like you're searching for a needle in a haystack, but it's worth the effort. It's tough here in New Jersey. We are a high-cost state. We were hit hard by the 2008 financial crisis, and many families got hit with a 1-2 punch. Many were sold subprime mortgages, and I'm sure you've heard about some of this. You know, if it's too good to believe me, it isn't good. If it's too good to believe, it isn't good. Too many families of color, most specifically, got sucked into a mortgage where either you had no down payment or ultimately the interest rate was so low, only to see it skyrocket once you were already in the purchase. And so that's why I'm proud of the work that we did with President Obama, that I helped write some of the laws that he originally proposed to make sure that families in our country don't get sucked in by predators at the end of the day into a mortgage that ultimately eliminates the dream instead of making the dream possible. That's why one of my priorities in the Senate is to stop consumers like you from risky lending that endangered the economy in the first place. That's why we work to pass new laws to make mortgages lending fairer, safer, more transparent. That's why I'm still in the midst of a fight to continue the federal monies to entities like Citizen Action so that they are responsible mortgage counselors that can give people the information that can guarantee that their journey hopefully will be successful and ultimately realizes a dream instead of becoming a nightmare. That's why we are working very hard in the midst of opposition to strengthening the trustworthiness of those who actually lend to you, potentially can lend to you, so it is open and transparent and honest at the end of the day, so that their products have to be what they say they are. And at the end of the day, make sure that they are also investing in our communities. You know, it is not right. I'm glad to see some of the financial institutions outside here. That's good. But I'm tired of, as I tell some of the banks, I'm tired of seeing you take deposits in Newark, but only making mortgages in suburban New Jersey. You need to make deposits in Newark and other places as well. So, finally, I know what it is. I grew up poor in a tenement in Union City, the son of immigrants, a mother who was a seamstress in the factories of Hudson County, a father who was an itinerant carpenter. There were more of us than there were bedrooms in that apartment. And I remember the building that we lived in. Sometimes the water ran, sometimes it didn't. Sometimes the heat worked, sometimes it did not. But the one thing, we may not have had a house growing up, but we had a home. And in that respect, home, this is the point I want to end on, the point why you're here. Home, that concept is incredibly important to our families. Home is where we're brought when we are born. It's where we're nurtured as we are growing up. It's where we celebrate some great times, a graduation, a marriage, a wedding. It's also when we face some sad times, when we lose a member of our family or go through an illness. Home is the very essence of our society. Having a place to call home that is your house, that's really the ultimate opportunity to build a life that ultimately realizes your hopes your dreams, your aspirations. That's what I'm fighting for in Washington at a very difficult time, believe me. That's why I'm proud of helping to fund agencies like Citizen Action. And that's why I salute you for taking time to follow a journey that I ultimately hope leads to your home. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So in an effort to make sure that we get out by 4, we're not going to show the video. It will be on our website. There'll be also something on our Facebook page, so that's why it's good if you liked our Facebook page, to watch the 11-minute video that takes you into the home of 3 of our other buyers, so you can actually see their homes. And at this point, and then we also want to give you time to do your little blue tickets. So I'd like to call up Olga Montero Hunt, who is a loan counselor. I know everybody kept hearing about Diane, the loan counselor, and I just want to acknowledge Olga's a loan counselor. Where's some of our other loan counselors? They're in the hallway. So we do have many loan counselors located in many locations, and they speak. We have loan counselors that speak both English and Spanish. And now I'd like to have Olga come up and talk about some of the frequently asked questions that you may have about the mortgage process. And I think we really messed up the computer.
Let me just make sure it's okay.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, okay, so you can just advance it.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. Woo! How are you guys feeling? Some of you guys showed up here at the crack of dawn. We were like, we're not even done setting up. I'm like, I love it, the early birds. And I still see you're here. That's so awesome. So my name is Olga, and I am a loan counselor with New Jersey Citizen Action, and the rest of the other loan counselors are outside working hard. Can you guys hear me good in the back? All right, awesome. So, give yourselves a little stretch. Don't punch anybody. Don't hurt anyone, because I know you guys have been here for a minute. I tell you to stand up, but then it'll take a long time to get back down. So I figured maybe I could just entertain you for real quick. Was that good? Yeah. Okay, can I talk to you as a loan counselor? Yeah. Like, give you the real deal? Can we pretend like my supervisors and stuff aren't there? Yeah? Yeah? Can we do that? All right, so some of you have sat with us. Let me just tell you, the rest of the loan counseling team are amazing loan counselors. Between all of us, not in our age, but in our experience, there's probably 30+ years of experience amongst us. We know our stuff. We love what we do, because it's nonprofit and we're still here. Woo! Yeah, right? And we really love what we do, so I encourage you to, I'm going to answer a whole bunch of questions, but I encourage you to do the loan counseling process. You can't know what you don't know. I don't care what level of degrees that you have, whether you have them or you're not. It really, in this arena, strangely enough, I speak from experience, it doesn't make a difference. This is a whole different beast, a whole different animal, and when you're looking to purchase a home, it really is a whole new language, and so I encourage you to do loan counseling process. We want to help you. We really want to be there to kind of guide you and assist you through the process. I tell people all the time, you can't know what you don't know. If I go to the store and my feet are swollen, I don't know that now I have to purchase a size 9 shoe. Okay? Why? Because I didn't realize my feet were swollen. It's silly, right? And I'm being silly on purpose. You can't know what you don't know. So I encourage you. And let me tell you, you graduates, you are amazing. You guys spoke like you guys are ready to do our job. I was like, wait a minute. They were really talking some real stuff, really awesome loan counseling stuff. So it's so obvious that they've been through the process. So I encourage you to do that. This is the largest purchase that you will make. So one of the questions that people have all the time is, do you have to make an appointment or can we just go to your loan counseling center? Feel free to come, but we're going to schedule you an appointment. We want to schedule you an appointment because we want to make sure that we sit down with you in a private office and space and go through your information. You saw the yellow sheet. We asked you a lot of kind of private stuff, and we're going to ask you a lot of real personal things. You saw the graduates share their personal story, so we're going to have that same conversation with you, right? This is the largest purchase you'll probably ever make, so invest the time and energy to come to loan counseling, okay?
Appointments are necessary in order to ensure that each client has privacy and time that they need. Fair enough? Fair. Good. I need you guys to talk back to me because I like to socialize, okay? How many years back will my credit be reviewed? Yes, we're going to review your credit, every single piece of it, every single section. Okay? But the bank wants to see a record of the last 12 consecutive months, 12 consecutive months of no late payments. That means none, not even one. So that's why you'll see sometimes people take a little bit longer, okay? Open judgments or collections accounts. They also want to make sure that bankruptcies have been discharged for at least 4 years. I know I'm the bearer of bad news, but I promise we will help you get through it, okay? Is that fair? Fair. Woo! Okay, prior to your application, in general, your credit report reflects the last 7 years. If you had serious credit issues, you will need to write a letter explaining to the bank. The counselor will help you with this. The speakers before were mentioning about the financial coaching. We had the graduates talk about, for some of them, it took them 3, 4, 5, 6 years. That's real talk. Because if you have credit issues, it may take some time, but it is still your home, your dream, your goals. Are they willing to fight? Are you willing to fight for them? Yeah. Right? You're willing to, then are we willing to put in the time? Yeah. Right? Because time is going to go by anyway, right? So we might as well make it useful and productive, right? Yes. How long does bad credit stay on your credit report? Accounts that were in the delinquent in the past but have been paid, property there has but have been paid, will remain on your report for up to 7 years. Bankruptcies will be reported for 10 years. Accounts that are delinquent, have not been paid, can remain on your credit report forever. It is important to remember, though, that the 7-year rule only applies to debts that have been paid in full. But what did I say before? The banks, this will stay on your report, but the banks are looking for what? 12 months of consecutive on-time payments. So yes, you may have not done so well. You were a little bit on the not-so-great side, right? But there's salvation, right? We can get this fixing and going with 12 months of good stuff. Is that fair? Yes. What is alternative credit? For clients with no traditional credit, and that's fine, right? Whether it be for religious reasons, personal reasons, or you just haven't done it, right? For clients with little or no traditional credit, visas, auto loans, store credit cards, we will attempt to show an alternative credit history. That means it doesn't matter where you're at. Let us help you figure out where you're at, right? And then we're going to help you put a game plan together to meet your goals. Is that fair? Yeah. Alternative credit is documented in the form of phone bills, utility bills, small store charges, rent-to-own purchase, and other sources that are acceptable to the banks. And we can sit with the lenders and say, hey, what do you guys look at? What are you willing to take? Is that fair? Yeah. Awesome. What if you filed bankruptcy? Okay. We've all been there, done that, right? Fair enough. But a bankruptcy will not keep you from getting a mortgage as long as it has been discharged. Just like anything else in life, as long as you've handled it, taken care of it, and done what you needed to do and brought it to its end, then if it's been discharged for more than 4 years, you'll be able to purchase a home. If you filed bankruptcy, you will know that it was discharged if you received a letter from the bankruptcy court. So sometimes people come in, they're like, I filed bankruptcy, but I don't know. You'll have an official letter, and if you don't know, we'll help you figure it out, okay? All right. We will also be able to see the date of the discharge on your credit report. So for those of you that sometimes try to be, take shortcuts, everything's on that credit report, especially things like this, okay, guys? So let us help you get it fixed up, cleaned up, and ready to go. Fair enough? Because we've seen it all. I have seen it. I know I personally, if you got something new, I'm like, oh, I got to add you to my book. I got to add you to my story list. But we've seen it all. There is no judgment. We're here to help. Fair enough? All right. Also, you must guard any remaining credit from lateness or default. So if you come into the office and you're like, I want to buy a home, I want to buy a home, start to be on time with your bills now. Start to put it into practice. I mean, changing habits takes time. What do they say, 21 days? But if you're willing to start to change, then before you know it, you'll be where you're at. Fair enough? All right. What if you have tax liens or collections accounts? Well, all tax liens, collections account, or other open defaulted loans must be paid prior to applying for a mortgage. So when we pull your credit report, we're going to be like, listen, there's all this stuff here. And sometimes people get hung up on why and who and this, and depending on the amount, we'll say, you know, it's, at the end of the day, it's all got to be paid prior to applying for a mortgage. Because the bank is going to give you this huge loan, right? Do they want to know that you owe someone that you haven't paid in a long time? Right. I'm not going to let you borrow $20 if you, right? You see what I'm saying? It's all about perspective and how you think about it, okay? All right. I don't know, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to see this because, you know, I'm at that stage in my life with the readers, and then I got to do this, so this is what I got going on here, okay, guys? How much money is needed for a down payment? All right. You need to have your own money. That means that you worked, or that if you receive other income, and that it's yours, not the gift, not the down payment assistance, not whatever else it is that you may be getting money from. You need to have your own. You need to have a stake in this ownership. Because like she said, 2 months into it, guess what happened? I tell that to people all the time. You don't know when's going to happen, what's going to happen, but you can be prepared for it. Because I got people on the opposite side of the home ownership who are losing their homes. I am not kidding you. There has been a lot of folks coming in 2 or 3 months into it and who are now losing their homes or in default 2 or 3 months after they purchased. Does that make sense? But it's real. And I can honestly tell you the reason why. They did not have their own money saved. Emergency fund. Okay? It is real. I'm getting real serious now because it is real. It happens and it's happening. I encourage you, don't let that be you. You know when you see somebody do something that they're not supposed to do and you're like, oh, that was not cute, right? And you're like, then you got to tell yourself, I got to make sure that's not me. Because then somebody's going to be looking at me going, that's not cute, right? Don't let that be you. I'm seeing it now all the time. Don't let that be you. I encourage you. So for most applicants, you will need a down payment of at least 5% of the purchase price, right? 3% of this must be from your own funds. The rest can be a gift or a grant. So I'm going to break it down for you, but I promise you when you sit down with your loan counselor, they'll be able to repeat it, all right? But I just want you to get the gist of it, what I'm saying right now. For example, a $100,000 house requires a $5,000 down payment. So if you're going to buy a $100,000 house, you need to have $5,000. A relative may give you a gift of $2,000 or more, but at least $3,000 must be your own money. Okay? I'm sorry? We look into oh, that's a good question. I'm not going to ignore it, though. You weren't supposed to be asking me questions. No, I'm just kidding. I tease everybody. But guess what? They're going to look at your records, all of your bank statements. So your bank statements have to match your income pay stubs, and your pay stubs are usually deposited, direct deposited. And then they do the math, and then there's these underwriters that go through everything bit by bit. Get it? And then we look at your taxes, and then the taxes, everything's got to match. I know, they're going to know everything. I'm telling you, even the size of your shoes. I'm like, are you giving me a down payment gift of shoes? Like, why? No, they're going to look at everything. And if you feel like, oh, my God, then that's even faster that you need to see us because we're going to help you sort it out. Because sometimes people aren't doing with the wrong thing. They're just not doing it the way maybe it needs to be in order for the purchasing of a house. Fair enough? Yeah. All right. So a $100,000 purchase, $5,000 needs to be for down payment, $3,000 needs to be from you, and then $2,000 can be a gift or grant. Now, those numbers will be bigger, obviously, depending on what you're buying or where you're buying, but just so that you have an idea. Make sense? Yeah. Now, that's down payment. I ain't saying nothing about closing costs. That's the next page. What are closing costs? Fees for final property transfer that are not included in the price of the property. Typical closing costs can include loan origination fees, discount points, appraisal fees, survey, title insurance, legal fees, real estate professional fees. I'm already tired. Prepayment of taxes and insurance. Closing costs for home buyers typically range 3 to 4% of the purchase price. So the first time I saw all of this, I was like, there's a bunch of fees in there, and I don't even know what they mean. Like, what is that? Who came up with this, right? So part of the loan counseling process is that we will go over and educate you on what all these different fees are. And a lot of times we're going to make sure that you understand, because we need you to understand and make sure that you're clear, right? So the loan origination fees, all of this other stuff. So if the down payment is 5%, which is $5,000, right? And you know that can be broken down differently. The closing costs on a $100,000 house can run anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000. Anybody want to tell me how much money you need to have to put together between your own money and the down payment assistance? $8,000 to $10,000. Don't get scared, because if these ladies here represent a percentage of people who are buying homes every day. So it's not like this whole entire room. Guess what? You can all do it. Turn to each other and say, you can do it. I got this. Turn to each other and say, I got this. All right. Don't get scared. Don't let the numbers scare you. Where can you buy your house? This is a big question that a lot of times people ask. You can buy, if you come with our program, if you can buy a house anywhere in New Jersey. I'm born and raised here in Newark. There's a certain spot, I don't know why people bother going down that way. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You can buy a condo, you can buy a single family, or you can buy up to 4 units, okay? The choice is yours. So yeah, one family, some people, and everybody wants something different. So you sit with your loan counselor and we'll help you figure out. But one of the things we do talk to people about is that, hey, are you ready to be a landlord? But that's a whole nother conversation, okay? That would not be me. I got to talk to you guys all day, then I got to go home. No. Do you need to have a job? Not necessarily. What? I know. But you do need to have sufficient income to support the mortgage amount. There's people who are retired who don't have income per se from a job. I know, right? What funds count as income? Besides income from employment, you can count on Social Security, disability pensions, child support, and alimony. All income must be verifiable, though. So if you're saying, I'm getting this pension for $323.56, then they're going to need to see deposits of that amount, okay? So it needs to be verifiable. Verifiable. All income, you must prove that you will continue to receive these funds for at least 3 or more years. And that's the second piece, that you're going to be able to receive this income for 3 or more years. I know sometimes people get upset. They're like, oh, and unfortunately, it is what it is. So there's some things that we can be flexible with. There's other things that it is what it is, okay? Can you buy a house with other people? Absolutely. You can buy a house with as many people as you wish, but the house must be the primary residence of everyone included in the mortgage. And this is especially for the down payment assistance programs, right? Everyone it has to be their primary residence. So you can buy with whomever you like, as long as you want to live with them. Must buyers be related? No, you can buy with friends, life partners, or anyone else that you want to live with. Anyone you want to live with. I'd be like, no, You talk too much. And when I'm talking, you don't want to listen. But anyone you want to live with. But be clear that one of the things we encourage people is that when you're doing that you have the hard conversations. No, a lot of people don't want to have, so from a counseling perspective, I tell you, have the difficult conversation. I'm going to have it with you. There's going to be a question and answers afterwards. Okay, I promise. Frequently asked questions. Can you buy a house with other people? We did that already. It must be related. What if you owned a house in the past? You are considered a first-time home buyer if you sold or gave up your interest in a house due to divorce. Most banks will consider you a first-time home buyer if it has been more than 3 years since you owned a house. So that is something that we can discuss in the loan counseling process. That is something you can discuss with the lenders. Fair enough? Yes. All right. What languages do we provide counseling in? English y en español. Yay! If necessary, you may bring a translator. So sometimes we have folks from other countries, so I know I can understand Portuguese well enough. I don't speak it well enough, but if someone brought a translator, then we would be able to do that. Sometimes if folks are hearing impaired, bring a translator. So we're really flexible and willing and open to make it work. Fair enough? Yeah. Woo! You guys ready? You guys ready for the raffle? Don't leave, because we still got the raffle. And it looks like it's good stuff. I was looking. I was like, man, I want a blue ticket. Can you use our program if you are a man or have one? Yes! Guys are welcome. So this is the women's seminar. Right? I know, at first I wasn't going to say that question that way, but then I was like, yeah, I think they may enjoy the funny. Yes, absolutely. This is a women's seminar, women's initiative, but guys, you're more than welcome. We are here to help everyone. Fair enough? Now, but oh, I'm confusing myself with because I can't see right. I'm telling you. And I put the readers on, but then when I look up, you look all blurry. If you have any additional questions, please write them down, and we will collect them and answer them at the end of this forum. Or if it's very specific to you, we will answer them in the one-on-one counseling session. Fair enough? Yeah. Woo! Have a great, great day.
Let's give Olga another round of applause. She was great. So I know that's a lot of information that we were throwing at you during this period.